There was a young boy struggling with loneliness, and one day he decided to consult the advice of the wise master that lived alone on top of the hill. So he goes up to see the master, and he says, "Master, you're up here all on your own. How do you deal with loneliness? It's something I'm struggling with." And the master smiled at him and said, "Let's go for a little walk." So they come down from the top of the hill and they walk past a blacksmith shop, and there's a man in there on his own beating some metal. There's sparks flying everywhere and he's making a horseshoe, and he didn't notice the boy and the master. And the master says, "Does he look lonely to you? He's just in the zone doing his work." And the boy says, "No, he looks like he's focusing intently on his work. He looks happy enough." And the master says, "Okay." They carry on and they walk past a garden, and there's a woman tending the garden, and she's softly humming to herself as she plucks the weeds out and waters her plants. And the master says, "Does she look lonely to you?" She's completely on her own and again didn't notice the boy and the master. And the boy says, "No, she looks really happy. She looks content doing what she's doing." So they carry on and they walk past a riverbank, and there's an old man fishing, and he's just focused on the river and he's smoking a pipe. And the master says, "Does he look lonely?" And the boy says, "No." So they head back and they walk back up to the top of the hill, and the master doesn't say a word. He's completely silent. And the boy's in his head, he's like, "Well, has he just showed me people that are happy and not lonely? What's the lesson going to be?" And then he's thinking, have I wasted his time? Have I wasted my time? So he's in his own head. And they walk back up to the top of the hill. And the master says, when they get there, "Who did you speak to on the walk back?" And the boy says, "Nobody, because you weren't talking to me, so I was just, alone." And the master said, "Were you not having a conversation in your own head? Because as we were walking up, I was noticing how beautiful the roses were today and how grateful I am that it's such a nice day, and that I'm quite proud of myself that I'm really old and I managed to walk up this hill every time." I was talking to myself. I was having a conversation. Were you not doing that? And the boy was. And we often do this. And the master said, "You're never alone. You will spend your whole life with somebody, and that's yourself. So you're never alone. But are you somebody that you like spending time with? Are you a friend to yourself?" So the moral of the story is, you need to cultivate the friendship with yourself. So if you're alone and you're feeling lonely, and you don't have to be alone to be lonely, you could be surrounded by people that you don't resonate with and feel lonely. There could be 100 people around you, but if you feel alienated from them, you're completely alone. And the opposite is true. You could be completely alone and feel completely content because you are your own best friend. So I would invite you today to ask the question, are you somebody you like spending time with? Are you kind to yourself? Are you honest to yourself? How would you want other people to treat you? What does the ideal friend look like? And are you being that person to yourself? Because chances are you're not. We are usually our own biggest critic. We're always picking faults in things we do, when we could do the opposite. You wouldn't do that with a friend. You wouldn't criticize and critique everything they do. You try and uplift. So I would invite you to cultivate your friendship with yourself. Are you encouraging? Are you kind? Are you gentle? Don't be a pushover. Don't lie to yourself, but are you honest? So there is a difference between aloneness and loneliness. You can be alone and not be lonely. And if you cultivate this, if you cultivate your friendship with yourself, because you're the only person you've got, you're the only person you're guaranteed to have for the rest of your life. So if you don't like yourself, that's going to be a struggle. If you have to spend time with somebody you don't like, you can't wait for it to be over. Now, if that's you, if you're lonely because you're just waiting for the opportunity to meet somebody that takes you away from yourself, then you're going to be jumping around friendship groups and just avoiding yourself. You're trying to escape. So I would invite you to sit down with yourself alone and cultivate your friendship. Be kind to yourself. And this is where solitude comes in. You have loneliness, and you can convert that to solitude by actually liking yourself, by being happy in your own company. And the funny thing about all this is, as soon as you are happy with your own company and you're no longer lonely and you've cultivated solitude and aloneness, people will come into your life. It's like everything. When you don't need it, it comes. And you attract what you are. If you're a lonely person who's very needy for connection, you're going to attract some strange friendships into your life. But if you're content and you're fulfilled and you are genuinely a good friend to yourself, you're going to attract more of that to you. So that's my invitation today. If you're lonely, trying to find a friend is not going to solve that. It will help you escape from the situation, but it's not a solution. So rely on yourself. Ask yourself the question and really look, be mindful about how you speak to yourself. Just for the rest of the day, just for today, observe how you talk to yourself. Are you speaking to yourself like a friend? Do you like spending time with you? And if you don't like spending time with you, why would other people want to spend time with you? So I hope that helps. Speak to you soon.